What is going on, guys? It is Jamil with MILMID Studios. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video. I want to thank you guys for your continued support. If you enjoy POV street photography, POV stranger portraits, unboxing reviews, that sort of stuff, be sure to check out this channel. Hit that subscribe button, comment, like, all that good stuff, guys. And be sure to check out www.milmidstudios.com/store, where I am selling some photography-centric gear that I think you guys would enjoy, including some presets for Adobe Lightroom. Thank you so much for your continued support. I see you guys that are purchasing, and it really does support the channel, so I appreciate that. Today we're going to be talking about the Canon R3. I see the Canon R3 as a workhorse. It's a great hybrid camera. If you have video work and photography work that you do, it's a part of your workflow. It's a great option for you because it's very capable in both of those fields. Recently, I had an opportunity to step outside of my comfort zone. If you guys have been watching my channel, you know that I love to photograph people. That's a passion of mine. And the more I develop in this discipline of photography, the more that I center and invest in the art of photographing people. There's something special about taking a photograph of a stranger who is willing to have their portrait taken, and then in that moment, in that single exposure, just capturing the essence of that person. But this was a little bit different, and I was happy to be able to test out the Canon R3's autofocus, specifically when differentiating between animal subjects and human subjects. Now, as you know, the Canon R3 is state-of-the-art technology when it comes to autofocus. That thing is sticky. If you throw on servo mode and eye autofocus, that thing is going to hook onto the eye like white on rice. It's not going anywhere, and it will track. So it was interesting for me to actually, for the first time ever, utilize the animal tracking priority. And the keyword here is priority, because even if you utilize animal tracking to photograph a human subject, as opposed to the human tracking option, it still will work. You still will have that sticky autofocus. It still will catch the human eye, even if it is set to prioritize animals. So that's why I say the keyword is prioritize, because what I did learn in my experience using both animal and human tracking is that, you know, these functions are not gimmicky. They actually work. If you are set to human tracking and there is an animal in the frame with a human, the camera, it may think and jump around a little bit, but there is a noticeable favoritism towards a human subject. Similarly, with the animal tracking, if there's a human and an animal in the frame, although it may jump around, remember, we still are getting better at technology, and it is impressive as it is, although it may jump around, the animal tracking will favor the animal over the human in the frame. Now, it wasn't all perfect. And I don't expect it to be, because I did notice that sometimes when utilizing whether human or animal tracking, the computer did jump around between the subjects. Sometimes, you know, depending on how far you were from the animal and how discernible their eye was. I was only using an 85mm for this shoot with the Canon R3. If it wasn't able to discern the eye from distance, it would sometimes select the face of the animal, or sometimes it would select the entire body. And sometimes it would jump around, you know, between the animal and the human. But the closer you got to the animal or the human, the more accurate the computer was. I was super impressed by this. Also, what I found to be interesting was that inversely, if you were in human priority for autofocus tracking and there was only an animal in frame, it would still capture the animal's eye. We'll have to do a bit more tests to see just how good the hit rate is, but it does still capture the eye, it does capture the face. But that being said, if there was only an animal in the frame and you had selected animal priority for autofocus tracking, there was a noticeable performance difference between having the human tracking and the animal tracking. So this is just a short video, but I did want to let you know, based on my experience, that the animal tracking is not gimmicky. There definitely is tech in these cameras that can discern the difference between an animal eye and a human eye. So this is just a short video, guys, but I thought it was interesting. I had a great time, you know, switching between the human and the animal autofocus. And sometimes if you're in a situation where you have a human subject and an animal subject and it's interchanging and you don't know exactly what you're going to have, you know, the autofocus is smart enough to figure it out. And it may not be 100% judgment. It may not be able to discern it 100% of the time. But if you work with it and you kind of get used to your camera and know what its limitations are, like the R3, I'm fully confident going into different situations where, you know, you may not know what you're going to get. You can really rely on that autofocus. But at the end of the day, guys, if you haven't been able to try out the difference between the human subject and the animal tracking, I want to let you know just from personal experience that there is a benefit to utilizing the specific autofocus system for the specific subject that you're photographing. All right, guys, so in closing, be sure to check out www.milmidstudios.com/store. Man, that's a mouthful. www.milmidstudios.com/store for presets and more. But most importantly, guys, remember, the best gear is the gear you have, and the best photos are the ones you take. Don't forget to keep on shooting. That's a wrap.